Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds Podcast. I'm your co-host, Boomer Gotha, the cat that ends your middleweight champion back. And to my left over here is the main Houston Nero, the man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form the dynamic duo that won't die. Deadly ideas, but spicier content than your girls' only fans.
What is going on, everybody? Before I get into tonight's topic, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and with that, let's get right into it. So, on Saturday night, Dricus Du Plessis defended his title against Israel Adesanya. And listen, I'll be honest with you, I was a little surprised. If you guys go back and you look at the preview we did for it, we both picked Izzy to win the fight. And Izzy's performance was lackluster. Now, let me explain a little bit. Listen, if you watch the fight, I'll be honest with you, I don't think either one of them really looked good. Dricus seemed like he gassed out pretty early. It seemed like he was kind of struggling to kind of keep up. And if I'm being honest, up until the submission in the fourth round, I actually think Izzy was winning. Now, let me caveat that a little bit. Izzy didn't look good. Izzy didn't look good doing it. Normally, the old style bender was usually styling on dudes. His punches were very crisp. Definitely noticed there was a good amount of punch pullback, meaning good jabs, good punches with good power, speedy, and pulling back. I didn't see that from him, man. A lot of the punches that I was seeing Izzy throw seemed like they were being thrown lazily. It seemed like they didn't have a whole lot of power behind them. They didn't have a lot of sting to them. And I'm not lying, I'm a little surprised by this. I was actually going to go and bet on the fight before the fight happened. I had pulled off my DraftKings, and I was going to place a bet. And then while I was kind of perusing to, look at the odds, see what everybody was talking about, any last minute news that have come up to see if maybe injury, anything like that I could look up before I placed my bet. I had seen that Drake had placed a $450,000 bet on Izzy to win. And that stopped me from placing my bet. Because if you guys all know, the Drake curse is very, very real. I think only 2 people total have pulled out, have managed to pull up a win despite Drake betting on them. With that being said, listen, again, going back to the fight, I'm a little disappointed in both of them, if I'm being honest. Yes, Drake has won, and when he jumped to get the rear naked choke, he did it on instinct, and it was great. But up until that moment, I don't think he was looking that great. Yeah, he landed three hooks that ended up putting Israel down before he jumped and got the submission, and I think that was really the best out of Dricus that we had seen throughout the fight. There was a lot of lunging punches. You can definitely tell Dricus he's not a great striker. He's not great at his punching. At least it didn't show in this fight. I don't think that the Dricus that we saw on Saturday was really the champion form of Dricus. I think he could do a lot better. And again, listen, I think Izzy was looking okay. But looking okay against someone that was looking bad is not a good look for either one of them. Listen, I don't know what's next for Izzy, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not one of those dudes to call for a retirement. I don't think that Izzy's at that juncture in his career yet. I do think he does need to reevaluate. One thing I was telling my man here is that I think mentally, after a particular loss in the octagon to a particular person, I think Izzy has been rattled. If you see his fights, every fight after he got this particular loss, he's not looked good. I don't think Izzy is the same Izzy that was the style bender and all that. And listen, Israel Adesanya was at the top of the pyramid for a very, very long time. So absolutely no shame to him. He's a great middleweight champions in UFC history. Great fighter. But I'll be honest with you, Izzy did not look like the old him. He looked very much shaken. He didn't respond well to some of the stuff that Dricus was sending his way. And I'll be honest with you, I just thought it was a lackluster performance by both of them. It just so happened that, DDP got the nod. And again, shout out to him. I don't want to disrespect DDP in any way either. I'm not his biggest fan by any means, but listen, he got the dub. He got it the right way, and no one can contest it. He submitted Izzy. It is what it is. I just don't think either one of them really looked good. I think based on his last fight, Drakus before fighting Izzy when he faced up against Strickland, which I still assert Strickland won. I think now that he's going to face Strickland again, I think it'll be interesting. My man did bring something up here when we were discussing that. That is true. Strickland didn't look great in his last fight against Paulo Costa either. So we'll see, man. Hopefully one of them shows up on that night and really pulls it out. But again, DDP, obviously he got the nod. He got the submission. But I don't think either one of them really looked good at all, if I'm being honest with you. What do you think about that, my man?
Look, man, it was such a weird performance, especially coming from the repertoire that Israel Adesanya was. You know, you look at the person that he used to be, you know, before the infamous Pereira duology of fights that they had in the UFC, and comparing that to his performance now, you have to think to yourself, like, what exactly has happened in like the past 2 or 3 years that's since, you know, that fight happened, and what caused him to basically give that performance. Because if you look at, again, it's not necessarily just that Dricus du Plessis, his punches don't look like they hit hard. It's just they look like they're like under like 0 G gravity, that he's punching through water. Like I don't want to say that they look super telegraphed, but they look almost like you can kind of tell the trajectory that they're going the instant that he throws it, because again, he's not a good striker by any means. And look, for anybody that says, or for anybody regarding the DDP and Strickland fight and say Strickland should have won that, I'm like, fair, he should have won that. But you and I have different definitions of what that should means. A lot of people's position was that Strickland's performance during that fight should have necessitated the judges scoring the decision for them. And I'm like, that's a fair argument. My understanding of that is that Strickland should have done way better in his performance in that, to not have to leave it up to the judges in the first place. If you look at Sean Strickland during the Adesanya fight and look at Sean Strickland during the DDP fight and even the Paulo Costa fight, those are two different tales of Sean Strickland we have there. It's weird that DDP is in a weird position where he's oddly, quote unquote, dominated against two champions, and yet he's still in a position where it's not convincing that he's won it, but they're on paper, they're on record that, yeah, he did actually beat them. Even if you want to make the argument that it was by a narrow decision or it was a chance, you know, spur of the moment that he was able to catch on. The fact of the matter is, and I don't really like saying this because I don't think he's a convincing champion, but he's champion, and that's really all that matters. And there's obviously we have the run back with Sean Strickland coming up for DDP's middleweight championship, whatever. And I'm fine with all that. Run it back all you want. My thing is, Sean Strickland hasn't exactly made a super convincing case for making me think that he's going to take back the championship. Given all the words that he's said that, oh, we're going to have a war, you know, it's going to be absolute mayhem. And then you come off a split decision off of Paulo Costa saying you're going to kick his ass. My thing is, you were over promising and under delivering, which that seems to be the tale of Sean Strickland as it is. So maybe I'm in the minority here. I don't think Sean Strickland's going to take back that championship. At the very least, not in a very convincing fashion that everybody thinks that it's going to happen coming off of their first fight between each other.
Listen, it'll be interesting, man. I mean, I do agree, like you said, that Strickland didn't look as good in the Costa fight, and I don't think Drake has looked good in his fight against Israel Adesanya. I don't know, man. Again, styles make fights. Let me just put it that way. Styles make fights. And I think based on that, the style that Sean Strickland brought to DDP might have been the perfect remedy, where in comparison to Paulo Costa, maybe it wasn't the perfect remedy. So I understand what you're saying. You know, obviously, lackluster performance by Sean Strickland in his last fight. Lackluster performance by DDP in his fight against Israel Adesanya. I think DDP being on a streak, he's in a very confident mode right now, so that could be what takes it over the finish line for him. But listen, man, listen. His last two fights, DDP hasn't looked great, if I'm being honest with you, and I think that is definitely going to be weighing on someone like DDP. I think every single fighter goes back and they watch their fight, and I think him watching this fight, I don't see how you could be like, oh yeah, I did phenomenal, I was great. It's not there. It's not there. So it'll be interesting to see, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens between Sean Strickland and DDP. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens next with Israel Adesanya. You know, I'm not sure where he goes from here. At the very least, he need to fight, 2 or 3 more people, get back into contendership, because he got a shot off a loss, which is already weird. But most of us forgave it because it's Israel Adesanya. He was at the top, so he deserves it. But now he has 2 losses in a row. So now, just like every other contender, he's got to go back, get 2 or 3 good dubs under him, and then you get another shot. So it'll be interesting how that goes. We'll definitely keep everybody tuned in, and we'll make sure that we provide you guys with updates. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you on the next one.